Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I've got a short video for you about allowing DLC in MLG and UMG matches. Would you like to see downloadable content for the pros in their league matches or CoD champs or anything like that? Because personally, I would. I will confess I don't watch all the league matches or all the tournaments or everything, but I do watch competitive play, and it is sometimes boring to watch the same maps and the same guns and same everything over and over and over again. We've had a lot more variety with Advanced Warfare than we have with previous Call of Duty games. Have been pretty good at allowing just about everything, but you still do see the same things over and over, and it would be good to change it up. The gameplay that you're seeing right here after I turn off my paintball mode is me on the first time I have ever played the map Sideshow and the first time using the new AE4. So after I get over those couple of newbie deaths in the beginning, I'm going to go on a really good tear with this gun. I'm going to end up 32 and 8, so 4.0 KD. But I was kind of curious as to why DLC was banned previously in Call of Duty games, and I was aware of why it was in Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 was back when the pro scene was really small, and UMG and MLG were not nearly as tight with Activision as they are now, so there were concerns about not being able to forward all the DLC codes to put on all the Xboxes and get it all working on LAN, etc., and also because they didn't want people in their online matches to have to buy DLC in order to be able to play. That's not the case anymore. You know, MLG, UMG, Activision, competitive gaming, they're all really tight together, so getting codes shouldn't be an issue. So I reached out to Mr. X to ask him why DLC is banned from competitive play. Now, if you don't know Mr. X, he is considered possibly the greatest team manager for Evil Geniuses, former Halo competitive player, and now he's working directly with MLG, planning events, that sort of stuff. But I'm going to be referring to him as my source of, we'll say, inside knowledge here. And what he said is that DLC was universally banned in Ghost because of issues with the ghillie suit. If you don't remember, the ghillie suit had some funny hitbox issues. It didn't make your hitboxes smaller or bigger, but they didn't necessarily match with the model or animation very well, so you could sometimes shoot through the fluff and not hit somebody, and it would look really bad on camera, kind of embarrassing. And pros would use it to kind of cheese. They'd hide in the bushes and do weird things with it. So it was just universally agreed that we should ban that. And we're also going to ban a lot of the DLC customization for the same kind of reasons, for concerns that there might be weird hitboxes or something that doesn't like look right or pan out, or just there were lots of little issues like that. And this also just incurred a universal map ban. There were no, DLC maps or weapons, and it was kind of the same thing with Black Ops 2. They were worried about, what if we don't get all these maps working on LAN, etc. But I think that the maps should have been allowed. Not every single one of them, obviously, but a couple of the maps from Ghost DLC and from Black Ops DLC could have made for really fun competitive maps. And the same thing here. Now, all of these new DLC maps, this one's probably in no way going to be a competitive map. I feel like Urban might be. Urban's got kind of like the right small sort of clustery. It can make an interesting S&D or CTF map, but I feel that allowing DLC in competitive play would greatly increase the variety. I mean, as I mentioned before, I do get tired of watching the same maps and same settings over and over again, and as the season changes, being able to add new things is really good. It keeps it fresh, keeps it interesting. It's kind of weird when you're watching a Call of Duty like Championship in, say, July or August, and they're playing on the same maps that are 6 months old, whereas most of the people with the season passes or whatever moved on to completely different stuff. It doesn't match up very well with what you're playing at home, and that's kind of weird and not so great. And this is like Activision we're talking about here. This is Call of Duty. This is DLC hype train. This is sell as much DLC as we can because that's the new business model. Same thing EA does, Ubisoft does, all the AAA titles. They all have this big not EA, I'm making fun of EA. They have this big DLC push to sell as much DLC as possible. And what better way to do that from the company's standpoint than to include the DLC in competitive play, to have pro players playing it, to go to CoD championships and see these guys playing on the DLC, or maybe like, I don't know when the second DLC launches, but if it's like right around that time, they could maybe include that in CoD champs. I don't know, that might be a little bit unfair because then the pros wouldn't have time to learn the maps or adjust. And the pro players, I don't know how much they're going to like this or not. They're kind of they're off in their own very different world than us, on YouTube or casual players. Some of them might appreciate the variety, because I know it certainly does get boring for them to play the same maps over and over, and I said that many times on purpose. But on the flip side, some of them might not appreciate having to relearn everything, or a few of them might not like the DLC maps. But I think it would be good to allow DLC. I mean, Activision can supply the codes to the Xboxes, to the pro players at a very minimal cost. It's not going to be an issue. It should work fine on LAN. We get greater variety, including guns. Like the AE4 is kind of a mixed bag. I mean, there's weapon and attachment bans. I don't think the AE4 is overpowered. I doubt you'd ever see a pro player using it, but if there are other guns that come out that are overpowered, it's not such a big deal to ban the guns. But just including the maps, including DLC maps would be great. Maybe it doesn't have to be 1 or 2 maps from every DLC or all the DLC maps. Like, if all the DLC maps on this DLC are bad, then don't worry about it. Don't include them. But if the next DLC has like 2 or 3 really good competitive maps, it'd be good to just go ahead and add those to the rotation. I don't really see the downside to doing this. Maybe I'm wrong. If you guys think I'm wrong, you can go ahead and tell me in the comments, tell me what you think about it. But I generally just think that it would be a good idea. Same thing goes with all of the customizations and camos, etc., etc. It was really kind of embarrassing last year at the end of Ghost. I think it happened to TK maybe twice. They got disqualified from tournaments because somebody accidentally put on a DLC helmet. Might have even been a free DLC helmet, just something that they downloaded, and they put on a little helmet or an armband or something silly, and they got completely disqualified from their tournament. I would not like to see that happen again, because that did not make any difference whatsoever, and them getting disqualified was just really silly and embarrassing looking. I don't think too much of that. Kind of getting a little rambly here at the end of the commentary, but I hope you got the idea. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay too, and let me know what you think about this. If you guys would like to see DLC in competitive gaming, if you think it would add more variety, if you think the pros would love it or hate it, if you think from the company's standpoint it would sell more DLC, or just kind of let me know what you think about it. As always, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. I'm not going to say Drifter out just yet. I want to show that score of mine. Yes, there we go. 32-8. Not bad. Drifter out.